blood draining from the brain. Testing helps pilots recognize the onset of G-lock, and therefore how to avoid it when they're actually flying. Unchecked, G-lock can cause pilots to black out. Eventually they will die, either from lack of oxygen or from crashing their plane.
What happens is at certain points the blood literally cannot pump around your whole body. The forces are so great that the blood gets pushed to your legs. So 10 Gs, a very hardy astronaut could survive. Beyond that, literally parts of your body get pushed apart, get crushed, literally by the G-forces.
The human body is even more sensitive to pulling negative Gs. We know much about the way negative Gs affect the human body, thanks to the work of men like Dr. John Stapp. Stapp worked for the US Air Force as his own guinea pig, climbing into rocket sleds and shooting himself down a long track, only to be stopped instantly. This generated tremendous negative Gs. On one run in 1954, Stapp reached a speed of 632 miles an hour before slamming to a stop in less than 2 seconds. He survived, but suffered a complete redout, bursting the capillaries in his eyes due to the force of more than 40 Gs. Stapp's experiments made everything from ejection seats to car seatbelts safer. However dramatic, these tests don't come close to producing the kind of Gs a ride on a UFO would.
Let's say a flying saucer were traveling at the speed of sound and made a right-angle turn in 1/10 of a second. The acceleration felt would be about 300 Gs, which would really be enough probably to tear everything apart, any material we know of, and everything inside it.
But that maneuver is nothing for a UFO. Some radar reports indicate an object going from rest to 9,000 miles per hour almost instantaneously.
The G-forces that you'd experience if you did that would be literally thousands of times the force of gravity. And that'd be far greater than you'd experience, say, if you were in a jet plane that lost power and crashed on the ground.
Our ship has an inertia canceller, because even to step on the accelerator creates more G-forces than crashing a plane. So how does it work?
There'd have to be something within the craft that would counter these G-forces. One possible way, at least in principle, is to actually manipulate the force of gravity itself. For example, if I could produce a gravitational field in front of me within the spacecraft that was pulling me forward at the same force that I was being pushed back into the seat.
A gravitational force field. This must be exactly how the alien inertia canceller works.
You would presumably have to be able to turn it on and off in some easily controlled way and very quickly, because if you're going to make a very quick change in your state of motion, you have to be able to deal with it quickly.
These aliens have shown us how to overcome inertia. So perhaps one day we'll use this knowledge to eliminate the need for, among other things, seatbelts and airbags. Now that we've worked out what the inertia canceller does, our next goal is to decipher the propulsion system. Our experts believe it's either a force field generator or an anti-gravity drive. Our scientists are reverse engineering one right now. Aside from their shock value, close encounters with UFOs can reveal secrets about how alien spacecraft actually function, including their propulsion systems. What you're about to see is a dramatization, a composite of similar encounters.
That thing on?
Yeah.
Okay, now look, the first thing we do when we get to the campsite is crack open the cooler. Right?
Right on.
Now, I'm talking before we...
Two men are setting out on a camping trip.
All right.
In many cases, there's been sightings where a UFO would come out of the sky or hover over a car or come down behind a tree line or something like that.
First thing I'd do is I'd quit my job.
Sometimes even turning off a car engine, making the lights flicker. But how they actually can do that is really kind of a question mark.
I can't believe we ran out of gas.
We didn't run out of gas. Something else must be wrong.
There are certain characteristics that are reported again and again, regardless of the shape of the craft. One would have to do with silence. It could be a very, very large craft, hovering nearby overhead, and the witness reports that it makes absolutely no sound.
Oh, we'll just cut through here to get back to the highway.
Look, if you didn't think it was such a good idea, you should have said something at the time.
There's something wrong with the camera. What is that? What the heck is that? Bob, what is that?
Like that you've just seen, our alien ship can hover silently, and the energy produced from its propulsion system interferes with electronics. The ship uses either an anti-gravity drive or a force field generator for its propulsion system. Our engineers are trying to determine which one of these devices it is. Perhaps the aliens have discovered a way of silently turning off gravity. Somewhere on that ship could be an anti-gravity drive that negates the Earth's natural pull. But what is gravity? For this, we'll need to go to the blackboard. There are 4 known forces: electromagnetism, the strong and the weak nuclear forces, and gravity. Gravity is the most enigmatic. Ironically, it's the one we're most familiar with and the weakest of the 4.
If you say you don't really understand gravity very well, you're in good company, because I think not even the best physicists really understand gravity yet.
E is equal mc squared, in which energy is put equal to mass multiplied with the square of the velocity of light, showed that...
Albert Einstein, while a young patent clerk, revolutionized our understanding of how the universe works with his special and general theories of relativity. In general relativity, Einstein said gravity is the result of the curvature of space caused by energy and mass. Gravity is our experience of that curvature, produced by the mass of the Earth. Could this device be an anti-gravity drive? We humans are striving to create our own anti-gravity drives. So far, none has succeeded. And most physicists will tell you it's impossible.
Right now, I'd have to say we just don't know. So far, gravity is something that acts on us, and we don't act on gravity.